Welcome to NZ Pocket Guide, New Zealand's largest travel guide. Visit nzpocketguide.com for thousands of tips, hidden gems, and ways to plan the perfect trip in New Zealand. This is a readout of an article available for free on the website. Check out the link in the description and let's get started. 10 Best Museums in New Zealand. The must-visit museums of New Zealand. Landscapes and natural beauty are usually at the forefront of a trip around New Zealand. But fascinating stories and more context to the places you're visiting can be found in the country's museums. We've listed the best museums in New Zealand so you know which ones you can't miss. From free regional museums displaying amazing Maori artefacts to mind-blowing private collections, there are museums to suit all tastes and interests. 1. Te Papa Tongarewa, the Museum of New Zealand. Easily the most iconic museum in New Zealand, Te Papa Tongarewa, which locals simply call the Te Papa Museum, is a place where you can get lost for hours. The museum has a huge collection of artifacts and interactive displays across the categories of art, history, taonga Maori, Pacific cultures and natural history. Don't miss the exhibitions outside too. While the museum is free, there are guided experiences available for purchase. Plus, check out 10 reasons why the Te Papa Museum is simply unmissable on nzpocketguide.com for more about the exhibitions. Location: 55 Cable Street, Te Aro, Wellington, North Island. 2. Otago Museum. Dive into the stories of nature, culture and science with a focus on the Otago region, as well as surprising international finds at the Otago Museum. Although the main museum exhibitions and galleries are free, there are paid experiences, such as the Taura Science Centre with a tropical butterfly garden and the planetarium. Guided tours of the museum are also available. Location: 419 Great King Street, Dunedin, Otago, South Island. 3. Omaka Aviation Heritage Centre. There's never been a collection of warplanes presented in such an exciting way than at the Omaka Aviation Heritage Centre. See Sir Peter Jackson's collection of World War I and World War II planes and memorabilia presented in realistic static displays created by Weta Workshop, i.e. the same people making movies. Location: 79 Aerodrome Road, Omaka, Blenheim, Marlborough, South Island. 4. Auckland War Memorial Museum. The Auckland War Memorial Museum, or more commonly known as the Auckland Museum, is not only striking with its grand heritage architecture but the exhibitions are pretty darn cool too. The Auckland Museum holds an impressive collection of Maori art and relics while telling the story of Auckland's flora, fauna and people. Visit the top floor to see the museum's dedication to the New Zealand military. Note that there is a fee for visitors. Auckland residents get in free with proof of address. Location: Auckland Domain, Parnell, Auckland, North Island. 5. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Dunedin takes it again with another museum in our list of the best museums in New Zealand. The Toitu Otago Settlers Museum is another free museum to enjoy learning about the complex history of the early Maori to the European settlers arriving in Otago. The museum encourages interactivity with old Maori huts and migrant ships to go inside, Victorian-era dress-up and penny farthings to ride. Location: 31 Queen's Gardens, Dunedin, Otago, South Island. 6. Bill Richardson Transport World. Another private collection and a must-visit in Invercargill, Bill Richardson Transport World is the largest collection of vintage vehicles in the Southern Hemisphere. Whether you're a petrol head or otherwise, it's hard not to be impressed by the colourful displays of beautifully restored vehicles, the World of Wearable Art (WOW) exhibition and the fun-themed bathrooms. Location: 491 Tay Street, Hawthorndale, Invercargill, Southland, South Island. 7. Canterbury Museum. The Canterbury Museum is Christchurch's free museum, set in Gothic Revival architecture on the edge of the acclaimed Botanic Gardens. Inside, learn the stories and see artefacts from the Canterbury region's past, from the early Maori to the local flora and fauna. A couple of fun oddities is the Antarctic exhibition showcasing Christchurch as a launching point for Antarctic expeditions, as well as the quirky powerhouse where a local couple's legacy is their living room on display decorated with more than 1,000 power shells. Location: 11 Rolleston Avenue, Christchurch, Canterbury, South Island. 8. Waitangi Treaty Grounds. The grounds where the local Maori and British made a treaty to become a nation is an iconic and controversial part of New Zealand's history. That's why the Waitangi Treaty Grounds is a good starting point for learning about New Zealand's history. Te Kongahu Museum of Waitangi, the Treaty Grounds Museum, tells the story of the two cultures' relation to New Zealand with interactive multimedia exhibitions and a video reenactment of the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi. There's more to discover at the grounds, which you can find out more about in the 5 reasons to visit the Waitangi Treaty Grounds on nzpocketguide.com. Location: Tau Henry Drive, Waitangi, Bay of Islands, Northland, North Island. 9. Taferiti Museum. An acclaimed private museum that is off the beaten track in Hawera, the Taferiti Museum showcases the tumultuous Taranaki history through artist-made scale models and life-size displays. The artist and mastermind of the museum, Nigel Ogle's skills and sense of humour can be seen throughout the static scenes of the Taferiti Museum. In a separate part of the museum complex, Traders and Whalers takes you on a Disneyland-style boat ride through more lively depictions. Location: 401 Ohangai Road, Hawera, Taranaki, North Island. 10. New Zealand Maritime Museum. Finally, back in Auckland on the Viaduct Harbour, the New Zealand Maritime Museum is well worth discovering. Experience New Zealand's connection to the ocean with boat and replica displays of the Pacific cultures to the America's Cup that proudly takes place in the Auckland Harbour each year. Auckland residents get in free to this museum, while visitors need to pay admission. For an additional fee, enjoy a sailing trip in a heritage vessel on the Auckland Harbour. Location: corner of Quay and Hobson Street, Viaduct Harbour, Auckland, North Island. That's it for this article. Hit like and subscribe to say thank you, and remember, this article is available for free on nzpocketguide.com. Check out the link in the description. Plus, there are thousands of articles for you to plan the perfect New Zealand holiday.